Hey, Lee Merriweather here, you know, the lawyer that decided to become a sawyer. Well, it turned out it was supposed to be raining all day today. It turned out not to be. It rained this morning, but cleared up this afternoon, and it's really nice. So I figure let's get out and mill some logs. I need about another maybe 400 board feet of 2-inch thick boards for the desks that I'm building in the co-working space in downtown Woodstock. And that's 400 more board feet will allow me to completely fill up the kiln, which, if I did my math right, will be enough to build at least the first round of desks. So I decided to grab another of the older logs. So I had 2 rounds of logs brought here. The first ones had been sitting a little while. Allowed them to actually rot a bit so that I could get what's called spalting in the wood. That's where fungus grows into the wood and leaves these black marks. And so right now I've got this northern red oak here that we're going to mill up right now. We're going to hit the log on the narrow end is about 18 inches in diameter. I'm hoping to get like 12-inch thick boards out of it, so 2x12s that will later be turned into desks, or it could be something else if I have enough material from what I've milled so far. This is just a little bit extra to make sure I have plenty of lumber to make everything, because after air drying for a little bit, it's still going to take anywhere from 30 to 60 days to dry in the kiln. Well, let's get to it. So I decided I'm going to cut off 2 feet off this log. It's currently 14 feet. I'm going to make it 12 feet, mainly because the air drying station that's going on is only 12 feet long, and it'll help me fit enough boards in the kiln so I can reach, the goal is to reach 3,000 board feet in the kiln to dry everything. So I'm going to trim it off, set the 2-foot section off that I'm cutting aside, and eventually what I'll do is I'm going to turn that into cookies. So I put them on the sawmill and mill horizontally through the log, with the log sitting upright like that. Well, and make what they're called cookies. So I make them 2 to 4 inches thick, and something you can turn into small tables. You can put it on your dining room table to hold food, like Thanksgiving, that sort of thing. But I may not be explaining it very well, but when I do cut these into cookies, I'll shoot that video and all this will make sense. about time to sharpen that chainsaw. I haven't sharpened it in a while, and it took a little longer than I expected to cut through that log. These came out pretty nice. I wound up getting about 5 2x12 red oak slabs, not live edge slabs, but boards. Some of it, as you can see there, it's this is the modularly raised right here. It's called quarter sawn. So some of the log is quarter sawn, some of it's not, because I just turned the log into a cant so that I could get boards. And so part of the reason I'm doing this for this round, I have not been doing the live edge. I'm going to have a live edge conference room tables that I'm going to do, but the reason I didn't do live edge here was, see how nice and neat these boards can be put together. I mean, there's some gaps here just because part of it's rotten, but these boards can be put very tightly together, so I can fit more of them into the kiln. Because the problem with the live edge is that when I stack a live edge, it's usually got a circle. In fact, wait, you know what? I want to take you over. I'll show you what I'm talking about. But basically, I'm trying to fit as much into the kiln as possible to dry as much wood as fast as possible, because the goal is to furnish the co-working space with all the trees from the property. So, but you can sort of see how with this live edge slab, it's not all, it doesn't sit flush. You lose actually some room, like in here, between there, right there, and that would be in the kiln like that, and the air wouldn't flow through as well, and you would lose a little bit of some board feet. So because of that, I'm milling these all as 2 by anywhere from 8 to 10 to 12, some 14. Milling them, so when I put them in the kiln, there's some more of it. This will all be, I'll be able to fit the most amount of wood in the kiln at any given time. And the way I built the first kiln, it holds about 3,000 board feet. The kiln can handle, the machine can handle 4,000 board feet. And for those of you that may not know what a board foot is, it's a measure of volume for wood. So there's a second kiln that's being built. I'm actually going to record that. Once I fill up all this here, along with that over there, once I fill that up in the kiln, I'm going to switch to building the second kiln. I'm hoping to get that done in about a week. And once that kiln's done, I will be filling it up with more of this, so I have enough wood to build all the furniture for the co-working space. All right, well, I milled about 120 board feet out of that. That's what I got out of that last log. So I need to grab roughly 3 more logs as quickly as possible and see if I can mill them before the end of the day. So I think I'm gonna mill this next. Again, another log from downtown Woodstock. This is, on this side, it's actually 37 inches, which is a hair larger than what my sawmill can actually handle. It can handle a 36 incher. And with its widest cut being about 34 inches wide. So cannot live edge slab this, not that I would anyways, but there's some defects in the thing. This is actually a Spanish oak or scarlet oak, or it goes by many names, but it's a type of red oak. Scarlet oak, Spanish oak. I've even seen it called a black oak bow. Not sure why, because it doesn't look very black, but but it's definitely a scarlet / Spanish oak, which is a type of red oak. So what's crazy is I'd love to be able to quarter saw this, but so if you don't know what quarter sawing is, it's when you make a cut. You see these are the rings of the tree right here. So you would make a cut right here so that the rings of the tree are going straight up perpendicular to the cut. Well, if you see this, because of the way this tree grew, it's not very consistent. So this is actually a difficult log to quarter saw. There, you would think that maybe on this side I've had some good wood, but go to the other side and you'll see how this grew here. It actually twists. So on the other side, you've got this right here where you can see the grain goes down and then comes back up, and then there was actually another log coming out. The tree was branching out right here, so there's this another pith. So that creates a problem because the pith is the center of the tree. So there was another portion of the tree growing out at this point, which makes this a challenge. So basically what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to do my best to try to come up with some quarter sawing, knowing that part of the board, maybe right here, will be quarter sawn, but over here it won't be. So what I do think it'll generate is some pretty wood. So no matter what I try to do, but I'm going to try to quarter saw this. This is 31 inches on this end. It is a big, heavy log. I wouldn't be surprised if it weighs over 3,000 pounds. And my little tractor there is going to have a fun time moving it, as well as my sawmill. But I'll have to make a lot of flips and a lot of cuts to get this down so it'll fit inside the sawmill. But let's drag it to the sawmill. Well, I only have about an hour and a half of daylight left. Maybe I should have not put this on right now. Oh boy. So this is that Spanish oak. And as you can see, it is too big for the sawmill. Even though this is the wide version, it can cut a pretty big log. So I am going to have to cut it, roll it, cut it, roll it, cut it, roll it, to get it to a point where it will fit inside of the saw head. So it may take me a little while because this thing weighs so much it's hard to turn. You know, all I can do is do my best. Okay, so maybe I bit off more than I can chew. I don't know if you caught from that video, one of my hydraulics got stuck, and I tried to use the tractor to break it free, and I went to grab a few things, and when I stepped away, that's when I realized I had these tow boards that were able to lift up the log and break it free. So I was able to free up my hydraulics to flip the log, but I have never had that happen before. That is a first, where I couldn't get the log turned and things got stuck. So yeah, this is probably one of the more challenging logs I've ever worked on. Well, I'm about running out of light, so this log here, Spanish oak, scarlet oak, wound up being a bigger challenge than I thought it would be. That's what happens when you get prideful. So unfortunately, I am running out of light, so I'm gonna have to stop for the night and pick this up later, tomorrow. Hopefully the rest of this won't take too long. I'm still going to try to quarter saw it. I may change my mind in the morning and just slab it as is, because it took way too long. I wound up chewing up, gosh, an hour and a half of time when I normally would be able to knock something out like this much faster. But I just couldn't turn the log over. It got jammed. It was just one thing after another. I had to change the saw blade because it hit something, it dulled it. So, well, it happens. Still, even a day like this, still a great day to be at the sawmill.